Ever felt that undeniable chill in the air? Like something's breaking beneath the surface in Detroit, something desperate and raw, yet filled with aching hope. Ever looked at this Lions team and wondered if they're just one piece away from finally shedding the shadows that have haunted this city for decades? You hear whispers, the kind that ripple through the locker room and echo off the empty stands. And it's a name a player always hovering just beyond the headlines, screaming for a second chance. Light up the comments if your soul aches for a Detroit defense that doesn't buckle under pressure. Because what I'm about to say hits harder than a sack on 4th and long. Behind closed doors, the front office is holding their breath. The coaches are exchanging knowing glances, and the fans ... Well, the fans are restless, waiting for that spark, that missing bolt to roar back into Ford Field. Remember Zadarius Smith? The wild card who showed up in the clutch last season when Hutchinson was down, and suddenly, the pass rush looked alive again like a glimpse of the defense we've been crying out for. The Lions gave up on him this offseason, sent him packing in March to save cap space. And yeah, it made sense. But now, as training camp looms, the reality is brutal. Hutchinson's still healing from that monstrous leg break. Marcus Davenport can barely hold the line with his health that always feels one nasty hit away from collapse. And Josh Paschal, though, a warrior is more of a mixed linebacker than that feared edge rusher who can flip a game in an instant. Josh Edwards at CBS Sports nailed it. This defensive end spot, this position of pure, relentless pressure, is Detroit's glaring hole. Think about it. Zadarius not only dominated with 4 sacks in just 8 games, he brought veteran grit and an unshakable presence right when the defense needed it most. The kind of leadership you can't buy on draft day or pray for in free agency. And now, with $40 million in cap space, the team stands at a crossroads. Do they make the call, pick up the phone, and bring him back to where he belongs? To a city whose heart has been broken too many times, who's waded through countless rebuilds and near misses, whose faith has been tested and burned but never truly extinguished. We've stared down more heartbreaks than most teams could survive since 91 loss in playoff droughts, cursed by injuries and mocked by the NFL's pundits. Yet here we are, watching our Lions fill out a roster that can compete, that can punch above its weight. But what if that one move, the re-signing of Zadarius Smith, is the match that sets it all ablaze? What if bringing him home not only eases the burden on Hutchinson, but transforms this defense from middle of the pack to nightmare territory for opposing quarterbacks? Imagine the roar of the crowd, the fire in Detroit's eyes, the pain morphing into power as this desperate city finally gets a defense that demands respect. But what if this moment slips through our fingers? What if cap space and pride collide, and the phone remains silent, the chance lost before it was ever seized? Because here's the truth no one wants to say out loud: the window for this Lions team isn't a cavernous vault. It's a flickering candle, delicate and precious, and if this domino falls wrong, we may be staring at another lost season, another reminder that hope in Detroit comes with a price. And if the Lions do dare to pull the trigger, to welcome Zadarius back into the fold, you won't just hear a sigh of relief, you'll hear the roar of a city reborn, ready to break free from its chains and chase the glory that's always just beyond reach. The fuse is lit, the clock is ticking, and the question remains: will Detroit have the courage to reach out before it's too late? Because if this move hits, if Smith returns to the Motor City Gridiron, Detroit isn't just coming back. We're coming for blood. Enough silence. Roar now or forever be forgotten. When you feel that cold gust rushing through your bones in Detroit, you know it's not just winter, it's history knocking on our door, demanding to be rewritten by men who refuse to be remembered for losing, for capitulating, for settling for crumbs. We've watched the Lions drown in their own hopes, drown in false starts, in coaching blunders that have haunted Ford Field like ghosts. Caldwell's firing after that soul-crushing playoff loss, the 0-16 nightmare that still echoes in the halls. Calvin Johnson's retirement that tore a city's heart in two. Barry Sanders walking away in the prime of his greatness. saying enough wasn't enough. And yet, despite every emotional wreckage left in the wake, somehow Detroit keeps fighting. The locker room's tension feels like a powder keg. Players whispering about missed opportunities, questioning if the front office truly sees what's needed, or if they're just playing a long game that might never come. The NFC North knows. Rival beasts sniffing blood, counting every inch of hesitation, every mistake to pounce when we falter again. And here's the brutal truth. Our defense has been a revolving door of talent. Promise fading faster than smoke in the cold Michigan air, and the worst part? That nagging feeling that we're one move away from flipping the entire script. Look at last season. Our playoff push was more than just hope. It was a rally cry, a reminder of everything Detroit is capable of when the stars align. But deep down, we knew it was fragile, that beneath the surface, cracks were forming, injuries piling up, desperation creeping in as the clock ticked down in crucial moments. It all comes back to that one name, Zadarius Smith, what he brought in 8 games, what he could mean if given the chance to come home. Remember the spectacle last season, Smith's relentless assault, that fiery passion that reignited. The pass rush when Hutchinson was struggling, when the defense looked lost and out of rhythm. That's not just a player. That's a symbol of unyielding pride, of Detroit grit, and of never giving up. But the front office, those cold, calculating minds, are hesitant, staring at cap space like it's a tightrope, weighing the cost against the potential redemption. Has Detroit truly learned from its past mistakes, or are we doomed to repeat them? Because you can't ignore history. Barry Sanders' breakaway seasons, Calvin Johnson's dominance, Dan Orlovsky's miraculous escape from the end zone, those moments of brilliance etched in the soul of Detroit. There was a time when we believed it's impossible, when hope seemed a distant flicker in the darkness. But then came last season, an adrenaline shot, a reminder that this team has fire, has heart, has the grit to claw its way back. Imagine Zadarius Smith, back in the silver and Honolulu blue, rushing onto the field with that fire in his eyes, igniting a defense that's been starved for a game changer, flipping the conversation from "Can Detroit improve?" to "When? Will they dominate?" It's not just about a contract or cap space. It's about redemption, a shot at rewriting every heartbreak, every near miss, every time we fell short under the bright lights. Because in Detroit, everything is amplified: the hopes, the fears, the raw emotion that fuels a city that's been battered but never broken. For every fan who's endured those long, cold nights waiting for that breakthrough, this moment carries the weight of dreams deferred. Will we get that call? Will the front office summon the courage to bring Smith back into the fold, to finally forge a defense that's as brutal and relentless as the city itself? Or will this be another chapter of what ifs, another chance that slips through our fingers while rival teams shuffle in silence and smirk at our suffering? The stakes are sky high, more than just a contract, more than just a player. It's about Detroit's soul, about whether this team can finally leave behind the shadows cast by decades of heartbreak and rise. So, as the snow falls softly on Ford Field, as fans clutch their scarves and hope in their hearts, the question remains, will Zadarius Smith answer the call? Or will Detroit be staring into the abyss, wondering if this is the moment we surrender? For good, or finally claim the glory that's been calling our name all along?